Jesus Moreno. The owner of this channel, and if you've been with us before, you know that we started investigating kind of as an amateur team. We went to the presentation held by LPRS last Monday, right? About a week ago. And we spoke to Mr. Cuellar and we asked for him to join us on this podcast just to share his experience. Because his experience, the most non-offensive way ever, is older than any of us probably in this room on, that half, right? 35?
35 years.
35 years of experience, possibly more. 33 is still less than 35. And of course, to my right is my good friend, Peter. He will eventually come on an investigation with us. He just hasn't been free. And we haven't been on many. We've been on 2. Some of you guys have seen him live if you're in the chat. And yeah, I wanted to have you on because you and the society are a big reason why I felt like I could do it. And I felt like our goal is the same. It's for the research. The curiosity is what got me into the paranormal. There are stories, right? Stuff happens. You can't explain it. Stuff happens. It scares you. But you also want to try and get to the bottom of it. And so all of that really drove me to be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to try this, right? It's not the safest thing to try, but I want to try it. And I really enjoyed it. And I think that to me, the research is what's really going to drive me to keep doing it. Especially because in the way that I did it, where I was live, the chat, some of the people in here were there when we went to the warehouse that I unfortunately can't name because of,
Legal purposes?
Yeah, legal purposes. But, they were there. They were hearing the exact same things that I was. The exact same time that I was. It's just, it's all really like pushing me to keep doing it. And there's no one with more experience, in my opinion, in Laredo that could guide us or give us words of wisdom.
The opportunity to investigate, it's the return of investment for us to gain the research. And I can tell right now, when we go visit a family that has, they provide for us to give them some service of to go investigate. Just by we ask about 20 to 30 questions, and not even that we know what type of activity they have, as much as we have practices, we tell them this happens and that happens, right? And they go, yeah, how do you know? Mm-hmm. And then after that, this happens and that happens. Yeah. Oh, thank God, there's someone that knows where we're looking at it. We're fun. So we connect to the practice that we've done through the years for some of the families' encounters with some such of activities to be something common. But don't get me wrong, we have done over 200 and plus cases. We have more cases to be explained, debunked. And we have about 40 to 50 cases are inconclusive. There's no explanation. We've done everything that we can, and those cases are still open, even though 30 years or 25 or 50 years have passed. That we still go back and see how we can get this explained. So everything goes to audio. Video is your best evidence. That's something that I always recommend. Audio and video, because you capture something that that you captured and you understand that you saw something and it's there, and then you have more witnesses to the investigation. We always recommend to have at least 2 investigators for each investigation. The more the better, because you have more eyewitnesses and then the investigation, based on the history, based on the demographics of the area, the historical, we research not only the land, the history, what was there before. Like for example, we have, clubs right now in North Laredo, and talking about Laredo, Texas, that before they built there, they had to move about 30 tombs it was a cemetery, and people were like, nah, that didn't. Yeah, you can check all that information. How can we relate, tombs and cemeteries and houses? It's one of our theories because we have a bunch of theories. We have in our group theory that there are spirits trying to communicate with the living, but we don't have that. So we just call it unexplained events. You have to be open minded in those areas. Or everything with energy in a house, it can be our own energy that we expose it. We deliver that energy in the house and it stays here for years and echoes to be residual and practiced. So there's a lot of things that for us, we're getting a little piece of paper, a page by the book, little by little, and trying to get those puzzles together. And then I pass and our group passes to the next investigators. They can take our research to the next level. Technology expands. Night vision is one of the major breakthroughs right now for a paranormal researcher. Night vision gives you that extra tool or extra advantage to see at night, and using the equipment at the right time at the right place. There's things you can capture that keeps your eyes and your ears like wow. And I have a lot of those experiences with our team, with other people, with the families, and I can tell you right now, there's best evidence for anybody is your personal experience. That's something that I can tell you right now, because it's like if I show you videos and talk about it and everything, it's like learning how to swim by reading a book. It's not the same when you're in the field of water.
Yeah.
And I there are some things you need to know and do's and don'ts and something that I can explain, but for me, for this 35 years, the more I dig, the more unexplained. So to protect, and it's something I recommend for any paranormal group, is make sure you have 2 hard drives of all your evidence. One goes into your house and one goes to the safe deposit box in a bank. Your house burns down, something happens, guess what? All your evidence is gone. All your research is gone. Your backup will be, and you have it secured. But Laredo Paranormal Research Society, LPRS, has expanded to not only do paranormal or unexplained events at buildings and houses and open areas. We'll also do UFO or ufology, or what the government calls them, not UAPs. We investigate the sky with different technology, from thermal to full spectrum, and for 3rd and 4th generation night vision. That is spectacular. I wish I can take you guys, hopefully we can do this in the future, to take you to a deep sky, dark area of the outskirts of Laredo, and you'll be amazed at things you can see in the sky. Beautiful things. And that's something that we'd like to educate the public to see what we do, and engage with the public so they can feel, experience, see what they see. And sometimes they're very lucky. We've seen things with the public. To this day, the public is, when are you going to have the next one? And I'm like, pretty soon.
Yeah.
Of course, our momentum is coming back. We're recovering from the COVID and the public events because everything was at a stop. But we're looking forward for 2024 to be a very productive year. And we love to be with the public and educate the public. And we love to take questions. And we love to bring as much as people to participate.
Yeah, I mean, your public outreach programs are the reasons that I discovered you guys. I think I mentioned to you when we met that it was at an Upward Bound event. Shout out to Upward Bound in Santos. But you guys went and it was one of those science rooms. You had a table full of stuff. One of them being that doll that you guys, and we'll talk about that case, I'm sure, later on, but it was the doll that you guys brought, and you explained it, and you talked about the case surrounding it, and then some kid asked if you could touch it, and you guys were like, yeah, go. And he touched it, and I'm sure, I hope he's okay. I don't know what happened to him, I didn't really know him that well, But it was from that point forward that I really started following your guys' page. Um, and I was really interested by everything that you guys did, not only the paranormal, but I would see that you guys would go out into like the ranchos and stuff, and you used to like the star watching or like the what is that called, with the metal detecting?
Yes, we
Yeah.
do archaeology or
Yeah.
relic preservation department, which is metal detecting. We do GPR, which is ground penetration radar, to go deeper. We participated in some of the Boy Scouts events at their location. I think it's Lisache Camp, Lisache, I think. And we teach them how to use a metal detector, and it's something that it's all about exploration. So from astronomy, from archaeology, from historical, we love history. Not only the stories of Laredo, founded from 1700s, the old neighborhood of Laredo, the St. Peter's area, beautiful colonial houses. We had opportunities to investigate there. Very good evidence. And what we call evidence is things we can't explain.
Right.
The Laredo, and just to make this clear, the Laredo Paranormal will never tell you, oh, we just saw a fairy. Oh,
Right.
we just saw a gnome, or we saw a duende, or we saw a figure with a light. And we can't. We can tell you we have seen things, we have recorded things, we have taken picture of things that resemble humanoid or a person. The voice that we picked up on our recorder resembles the voice of a person.
Right.
And it's all for interpretation. What we show you is not that we are adamant it is a spirit, or it is a gnome or a fairy. It can be an insect that resembles a fairy, or it can be a reflection. So I think what we welcome more into our group as guests is the most skeptic. And that's something that gives you more value to your evidence. If you have a person very skeptic, it's not that the person is negative, it's telling you all the possibilities. So it's giving you ammo to your evidence.
Right.
Once a skeptic cannot give you a full explanation, but he give you all the possibilities, okay? You don't have one theory, just give you about 10 theories. So let's say this bottle of water goes from here to here. All right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us witnesses. And I come up and I tell you, Moreno, spirit just moved that.
Mm.
But Peter might say, no, it could be electrons and neutrons, and it could be the surface of the table, and which it could be true. Another person might say, maybe the wind factor of the AC when it turned on, and the water, maybe it's the temperature of it, it's lighted down. You might have the other person saying, oh, it's inclined. So when they pushed it or direct, so you see all these explanations come up to the evidence that you saw something that moved with no explanation. You have all these opinions, which everybody's right. The question is, which one is the right one? And that's you document all those possibilities. This is a lot of work, Harris. Just document the time, the temperature, how it happened, and then you want to replicate or try to debunk how that happened, and that's how you start doing your research.
And I do want to emphasize something. I mean, do you have no reason to lie in any of your evidence? And I know maybe we don't have any of the evidence, unfortunately, of the stuff that you guys have seen. If you guys want to see any of the evidence that they've captured, that they're capable of sharing, please stop by their next community event. I don't know when that is. We can probably get into it at the end of the show. But you have no reason to lie. You're not like a ghost hunter show on TV or YouTube. You're not monetizing any of your things. To put out a lie, to make out an AVP, it would just be for the sake of doing it, because you wouldn't be getting any sort of monetization from it, right?
No, we're nonprofit. If we get because we have gotten donations, all the money that we get, I think last time we got about $100. It goes to charity, Sacred Heart, or a local organization. We don't take any money. Our return of investment is the research. Allowing us to be in your home, investigate, and educate the public how these things work, how it works, and how it can help other people, and how we help based on religion, because that's something that motivates a person that believes there is something out there, or actually God actually did his work. There's a blessing of a house. We have had numerous of blessings based on the practice of religion, and that's another category of the process, how you can engage with the public, because the public says, I don't want cameras and bells and whistles, I don't want anything. Can you help me get this thing out of it? And I asked the question, what's your religion? And they go, well, I'm Catholic, but I don't go to Sunday school. I'm not a very good Catholic. That's fine. But if I bring somebody from the Catholic Church, to come and visit you, will it be a problem? No, long as you get the stuff out of it. Okay. So the deacon or the priest or the person that comes, does the blessing, talks to the family and says, this is just like me cutting the grass of your house, but this is going to go back. You need to maintain that positive energy, prayer, faith. This is your center. This is your house. When you come and rest, you don't need, to be with anxiety and stress because things move around and we see shadow figures and everything. So once they bless the house, to this day, only one home got to bless it twice. But, and not that we bless, we're the facilitators. We're kind of the middle people to help the family. If it's Baptist or Methodist, any religion that they think, not to think that they practice, they give them a support of their homes. And that we have seen throughout the years to be working positively to the families. Because sometimes they just want to know, they don't want to talk about it, because if they do talk about it, the people, the society structure that they're crazy. Or when they do talk about it, they need help. That's where we come in and tell them, this is what we can do. We give them the options. We have people that they're very curious about us, and they come in and what's your activity? Go, no, but we want to meet you guys. So it becomes more of a meet and greet, and so. But at the end, what I love about LPRS is working with the public, the people, the stories, the things that we have seen in the past. It comes back again in a different home. Has no relations.
Right.
And one of the things that I got astonished is the people that see spirits, which I'm not a psychic or a person that has a gift. But I'll tell you the story real quick. It was in October, we're doing a presentation at the downtown area at the museum. And like what you guys saw at the library, kind of similar to that. At the end, we take a Q&A, questions. And some will go inside, we'll talk them inside. Some older lady, she was like in her late 70s. And she came up to me and said, I commend you, Mr. Cuellar. I appreciate you guys, what you're doing. I love that you guys are very modest to your practices and everything. And just to let you know that I see dead people, I spirits. And when she said that to me, I'm very skeptic. I asked the question, do you see anything in this building? Because what I've heard of this building, in the 1920s, it's an old historical building. Now it's a museum. A lady committed suicide. She on the second floor, she jumped and to her death. And reason, I think she had a relationship or something pushed her to commit suicide, and she was dressed in white. Now I knew that story, but I asked the lady if she see anything, and she says yes. There's a young lady crying in pain on the second floor by the balcony, and she's wearing white. Okay. Me, I can say, maybe she knew the story, and she talked about the story. Or maybe actually she's seeing things that we can't see. A week or two, because this was a weekly presentation, so it was all month. A young lady and her daughter from Zapata came over to see the presentation. And I also mentioned that they had that gift of seeing spirit world. So I asked the question again, and the little girl was gifted, and she said, tell him. My mom asked the daughter to tell him. And I go, there's a lady up there in white, and she's crying. She's sad. So here comes the investigation, my brain. Okay. Do you know a lady? She's in her 70s. And they go, no, Mr. Cuellar, we're not even from here, we're from Zapata. And this is what she said. It's not fair for us because we have no way to prove it that what we're seeing is true. And some of us, when we're born with this gift, we think we're cursed because we're seeing this energy around us and we're afraid of it. So we need another person that's been through this, like a person that's been through the experience to teach them. And that's what grandmother teaches her gift to her grandchildren, and the grandchildren teaches that tradition that it's not a curse, it's a gift. Use it wisely. In some cases, they do use it for law enforcement, for missing persons. They use it for, trying to resolve murder cases and everything. And it's in the fence on some of the areas or districts of government that psychics are, or people that do help are in the middle to believe and not believing, And when I saw that, I even got goosebumps and I go, you're actually seeing images right there. And I'm like, trying to move my eyes. And sometimes, I guess, there's so many gifts out there, so many mystery that if someone would tell me as a researcher or a paranormal investigator, if someone would tell me, if God would come up to me and tell me, do you want to know all the mysteries? I can tell you all the mysteries, who, what, where, and how. And I'll tell God, no. I will read the book from the beginning to the end. Even though I know the bugger did it, I need to go for the process. And that's what makes us curious on the adventures, because it's like when you play video games, you put cheat codes and kill the plot of the story. So it's the same thing. You want to research it, but with the process of sacrifice.
I think psychics and mediums are where I have the heavy I want to believe attitude. Again, for the same reason that you mentioned, they're the only ones that can see it or experience it. And as much as they might describe the ever-living heck out of it, you just can't fathom what it is that they're seeing because you're not seeing it. And that's why I have Peter here. Because if I know a medium or a sensitive, he's the closest to it. I don't even think he considers himself a medium. It's like, I just know that he's as close as it gets as far as I know. As like me knowing somebody personally. But yeah, it's just psychics and mediums, and I think I mentioned this to everyone before. It's just where I'm like, that's just. Sometimes you can't explain it because they're spot on about everything. But it's also hard when, whether it's on TV, YouTube, or even in person, when there's like, there's somebody right there. It's like, there's nobody there, So that's where the biggest, like, I want to believe attitude when it comes to the paranormal is for me, because it's so, I don't have it, I don't have it. No one around us has it. So when one person out of the 6 or 7 in the room is like, there's somebody right there, it's really hard, to really believe it or convince yourself to believe it. And but yeah, it would be cool to know somebody that is psychic and have them around and be like, hey, there's somebody there, and we can just like point to thermal, snap a picture, see what we catch. But it is like the biggest I want to believe. And I think it's safe to say that you are the last ghost hunting or paranormal investigation team that is probably gonna ever have gone, if not only, right? Because I feel like you're also the only one. I don't think any other.
I'm sure there's been other groups there.
Okay.
So can I explain a little?
Really go for it.
So I was mentioning earlier today that I was pushed into this type of research panel, my strong obvious is astronomy. I love to take pictures of the astros, the planets. Not that I started that because I believe in UFOs. That was something that happened after. I'll explain that right now. So, I have a background of corrections, law enforcement. I have a tactical team that trains special forces, repelling, clearing rooms and how. So many moons ago, when the owner of told us, law enforcement can utilize it, and that keep trespassers to going in, the presence of law enforcement. And we were there, not we're gonna ghost hunt or no. We film, we record our guys doing training, going in, and while we were filming, of course, we use night shot, night vision, or even with a bright light. We captured things that like a figure, and we thought it was one of our guys. We saw an orb, and that is what it triggered for us to start to investigate different parts of the building, but never for us to come out in public. It was a personal hobby. We had multiple opportunities to investigate other areas, and we took the opportunity to capitalize those investigations. And the more that we investigated, we had a bunch of stuff that we couldn't explain. We had no explanation. And some of us, like I said, in our group, our original founders are from different professions. Some by profession investigate. We investigate this like a criminal case. We put a case number 0001. We're gonna have to substantiate if there's evidence are real or not. We use scientific development. We use all instruments, methods for us to how can we explain this activity? In some cases, there was no way for us to explain, so we archived that activity. The reason we came out public, it was accidental because we were at the old La Posada Hotel at the museum, which I highly recommend. It's a very historical, very old, and they gave us the opportunity to investigate. And one of the journalists from Texas Monthly was staying at the Posada to do a story about the border. He accidentally went inside the investigation. He saw lights and wires and night vision cameras, voice recorders, detector here, detector there. And he was very, very curious. What are you guys doing here? You guys are paranormal investigators. Can I have your name? Can I make a story about you guys? I'm with Texas Monthly Magazine. No matter who you're from. We can't, and we're it's just a personal thing. No. What's the name of your group? Sir, can I be right back with you? Because the guys were all hiding.
Yeah.
Now remember, this was a Sunday. I think I explained this. It was a Sunday. We don't have a black shirt with a ghost on it, or the name. One of them had sandals and a short and a white shirt.
Yeah.
And he was eating some tacos and he had taco grease in the shirt. It was me, and I had my warm-ups. We were just having a good time, investigating, and we were thankful. So he was like begging, please, can I do a story about you guys? And after that, I maybe an hour later, I said, look, let me get back to you and talk to the guys. So this is go through the story, whatever you need, but would you leave, sir? Because we need to finish this. No, I'll leave, but just give me, all right, let us go home and change. So what do we do? Blue jeans, okay. Black shirt, yeah, just get a black shirt. So we got a black shirt, blue jeans, and he did the story about us, and it's I can't recall the year, but from there, everybody like, oh, so you've been doing investigations. How come you haven't said anything? Because it's personal. It's a personal hobby. Why would I have to go and tell you, hey, this is real?
Yeah.
Do you want to believe me? No. And for the integrity of our investigation is that we don't charge. We don't have no Facebook or any type of social media that will give us some funds for us. If we do need funds, like we have done in the past, we do a plate sale or some type of raffle. So we get that money before we can pay our travel expenses. But we started from that area, that building. But it can be north, south, there's no which hour. It has to be at night, it can be at daylight. We have got more of the best evidence during the daytime than versus at night. So I can tell you that for me and for the group, we're very happy that throughout the years we were able to connect with the public. And that's something that it's one of the treasures I keep in my heart, because I've been to houses where I come in and, we're LPRS. And I go, ¿Habla español? Sí, hablamos español, which, we speak in Spanish.
Yeah.
And she starts talking in Spanish. She starts saying that she came to her room and all her dishes went like boom, and then backwards, F-bomb comes out,
Yeah.
S-bomb comes out, and they're like, okay, we're videotaping. And she was explaining, and she was very, adamant to the thing. And she said, can you get it out? We can try. It's not like you put a box and get everything goes in there like Ghostbusters. But there've been funny moments, some scary moments, especially when there's children involved in some of this activity and investigations. We immediately put that as a priority to help the family. And there's negative energy or I can say demonic as a reference point. Very rare, but we have investigated maybe three or four cases out of the 200 plus cases we have done.
I will say though that your uniform, that black vest, I really like that. Whoever made that call for your uniform, it's the right call. It's really cool. It's a really cool uniform.
Thank you. To get the name, how we call ourselves, night crawlers, the Slimers, or Parafighters. They go, he's waiting. Texas Monthly guy is waiting for so. Okay, it's just Laredo Paranormal Research Society there, and that's the name. We are still working for a catch name. They're like night crawlers in Laredo Paranormal Research Society, night crawlers or something like that. But once we start expanding the group throughout the years, we have found relics with the archaeology, the relic department, things from World War I, World War II, prehistoric. One of the biggest finds from the relics, you found Ice Age or dinosaur days to be what they told us in Austin, possible tortoise or alligator. And those were found in the vicinity of Laredo, central part of Laredo. And so it's a lot of things that the group, our team has been engaged to the areas that we explore. So right now we're getting ready for this month. It's going to get clear because it's cold to do Skywatch. So we're going to do a lot of UFO astronomy for this couple of months, and those are the events we're going to have in the future for Laredo and the people that want us to visit us in this surrounding area.
Yeah, I mean, it's I want to say that you have a start that I don't think a lot of paranormal investigation teams could have. Now, I don't know if every city or town has a, but to be investigating so on, that seems like a really significant investigation. I mean, I've told the girls, like, let's say that once, for some reason, the owner for sees our content or whatever, and he's like, I would like for you guys to investigate. Now that all these, and I'll mention another Laredo group, the paranormal stories, that so many people have been talking about all these stories around, go in there and investigate. I don't know if I can do it. Not because I'm afraid or anything. I would want to do it. I just don't know if I have the gear for something so immense, so big, you know. And I'm also like not too familiar with its layout now. I mean, I was born there, but
Yeah.
my memory since then is faded.
Well, when we investigated, we went there for not to go investigate. We went there for training, for in-service training.
Right.
But the opportunity was there. We never put things. Oh, we got to our associate because we don't. I know the owner wants to sell the building, and out of his respect, you know, we don't want for us to get in trouble or get people in trouble. But coming October, there's a lot of trespassers. I think
Yeah.
there was an incident last year
Yeah, it was that.
that two individuals, fell,
Yeah.
second floor, third floor. A lot of people trespass. Now, when we started, the building was, with no mold or mildew or asbestos so right now it's not a safe place for us, or we don't recommend to go investigate unless the owner cleans it. And I think the best thing for that building is make it a tour. And make it it will make a killing
Oh, absolutely.
of making a tour of a historical and have ghost hunters from all over to come
Right.
and do the
There's
research.
a lot of places that do that. I mean, there's places as close as San Antonio that will charge you to stay the night, but you have full access and you can do your
Yeah.
paranormal investigation. They're like the footage is yours. You can use it as you wish.
Yeah.
I definitely do agree, and I just want to make this point that Mr. Cuellar and like him, myself and our paranormal investigation team would never enter a place illegally. Breaking into or any sort of location, we'll never do that, and we strongly recommend that you don't do that either, because you risk your health and or your life. It is really bad to go in there. So just because we're talking about it doesn't mean that we're going to do it or that we're gonna, do anything around it. Definitely stay out of there for health reasons.
Health reasons
it's
alone. I mean, like Mr. Quiet said, the mold, mildew, the asbestos. I mean, if you don't have proper masks, you're going to get yourself sick. And then, plus, you do have the vagrants that are there also.
Yeah.
I mean, so you don't know who you're going to bump into, literally.
But that's why we have him here, because if you're interested about that specific Central Laredo, that's the man that's been in there. Him and his organization have been in there 5-6 times.
Quite a few times.
Yeah.
Our organization has been there inadvertently because of training, but as a group, as an LPRS, we haven't been there as a paranormal group.
Mm.
We trained there for many years and we kept things there, but officially, we've been there as a team, as paranormal group with a permission. No, it was everything based on our training that gave us the opportunity to do there. Mr. I don't want to mention his name, but the
Right.
owner of has been trying to sell the building, and right now it's really changed. Right now, I think what I've heard, it's even the incident that happened, a lot of trespassing, a lot of injuries, and there's been a lot of trespassing from other organizations, not even from Laredo groups.
Yeah.
From Mexico, that they just broke in and put a ladder and start recording and then illegally. So I think the best thing for me, if you do get the opportunity to investigate a building, a house, it's the best evidence you can do is go with an open mind, take your equipment, test out your equipment. We have seen more things on a house than we have captured things in a hospital or an abandoned building. There's some events that I hope I could have the opportunity to show you guys. But my house in Presidentes, it was just, we couldn't believe it. This entity was so smart that our equipment will go off in one room, and we'll all stampede to that room, and then the one over here will go off, and things were moved, someone got scratched. And you see, you would think, well, when that happened in a hospital, or it's case by case. Even you think the less, you think, oh, it's a small house, or it's a small building, or it's an area that you don't have, you get blindsided, and the element of surprises has happened to the group. So I can tell you that there's not a witch hour, there's not a time for paranormal. It happens, and if you're at the right time with the right gear, you'll capture some things that you were able to present for people to see and open for interpretation.
So I want to talk a little bit about that now that you've mentioned it. What is your opinion in some of the advancements that we've seen in these paranormal investigation, or these instruments of paranormal investigation? How do you feel about the legitimacy of some of them? And do you think that some of them are just, for show? Because there have been, unfortunately, shows that, they make up evidence or they make up events. I think the one that happened a few years back was Ghost Hunters Taps, one with Jason Hawes. They made up a few, but they found out that like they had modified a REM pod so that they could press a little clicker in their pocket and it would go off. But I mean, like I think the REM pod is the biggest one that's been used recently. As long as stuff like the spirit boxes, the yes no prisms. How do you feel about instruments like that?
Okay, so your best evidence for us is video and audio. So let me explain the video. You have full spectrum, which is the spectrum of ultraviolet light. And then you have infrared, which is the other spectrum of infrared, which we can't see. There's two energies of it. And those two technology of cameras have captured things, and by things can be a mist, a figure, shadow, balls of energy that go into a wall, comes up through another wall. Those cameras have been, because you're seeing and it's capturing. The audio, it can be your phone. It doesn't have to be a sophisticated recorder. It can be a good digital recorder and good brands. And I'm not here to sell brands, but the good brands is Sony, Olympus, Panasonic, are very good recorders. And we get responses to the questions that we asked. I had a skeptic investigator, very skeptic. And I was telling him, we have to capture some voices in our recorders. And he said, no, Mr. Cuellar, I believe you, I understand, but let me buy my own recorder. Never put the recorder to the place we're going to investigate. So we went and we left the voice recorder on this place, supposedly very haunted. And he asked a couple of questions, and he would laugh, he smirked. He didn't believe anything. Put record. The following day, we went back to the place, picked up his voice recorder. Now what? What your headset and press play and listen to anything you can hear. And that was about 7 or 8 in the evening. He called me about 1, 2 in the morning. Very upset. Why? Cuellar? What's going on? I picked up a voice. I can't sleep because of you. I'm very upset with you. They go, did you go back there? Did you go back there and alter the evidence or say something? No, you have the key. Those padlock, locked it up and went home. You have the key, right? Yes. Who opened the door? So what is it? That's where we.
Yeah, that's the question.
That's it. Yeah. Is it a spirit? Is it something that I don't know? I can tell you congratulations. So no congratulations because of you, I'm not able to sleep. From that point on, he's been part of the group. And he wants to know. Because of curiosity, they want to know what it is, where it's coming from.
Yeah.
But it was the field experience. Like I said, he was on the fence, or open-minded, but maybe more to not believing. And he started believing. But Was it me? No, it's a spirit. You need to believe. No, it's you go and then you make your own judgment. And if you do believe, that's fine. But it doesn't change the mission statement that our group has. Because we gather all this evidence and we archive it, and I'm telling you, it's not easy because once you have everything, because I cannot tell you, all I can tell you, it's unexplained, but it gives me no right to tell you, okay, this is a spirit can make in, but they don't know. That's why it's very difficult to put a ruler or measure. And what helps us a lot right now is actual visual reporting by scientific instruments for the thermal vision. FLIR, which is the company that starts from Switzerland, make this technology to give you signatures of different temperatures, red for hot, yellow and green in between, and blue and black will be cold. We have captured, this is an old hotel from 1910. It's the Bender Hotel, it's in downtown area, next to the St. Peter's. We went to the laundry room, well, we call it the laundry room, but that was a slaughterhouse that would kill animals for alive back then. Wasn't, get your meat from HEB. No, here's your pig, you kill a pig. It was, so from there, I had a thermal camera, but this camera would take pictures. And I'll bring to you, if you invite me again, I'll bring you actual evidence of what I'm telling you about. And this when I looked at the reference on my screen to the object, I couldn't see it with my eyes, all dark. But there was a humanoid. You can see the head, the shoulders, and it was blue. And I looked at it and I go, and I took another picture, and this thing moved their head like this to the left side. And well, in this case, it was going to move to the right, so I could move to this, and they just seen it blue, less, and then 2-3 seconds it just disappeared. And I was capturing. I was in awe. I was like, that night I remember I was talking about it and talking about everybody, okay, we believe you. Well, here's the pictures.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. If I just talk about it, but when we have a sophisticated instrument that picked up a signature of a humanoid and the temperature was blue, it's one of the best evidence I've captured with thermal camera.
I have a brother that lives out of town, and we're all Hispanic and in some way, shape, or form Christian or Catholic. But when I told him like, hey, I'm gonna start ghost hunting, I'm gonna start going on investigations, and he was like, you don't have any equipment, you don't have any lists. I bought something. I bought a spirit box. So you can set pre-recorded messages on there, right? No, you can't. You can't. I don't think you can do that. I don't know how to do that on the one I got. And I like I said recently, I bought a voice recorder, and I was like, I got a voice recorder now. So you can set pre-recorded messages on it, right? And then it's just always that that little aspect of like, oh, that's not real. Like the instruments that you use, like it's not real. And that's kind of why I mentioned before we started how like I like the aspect of doing it live, because it's really hard to fake. I guess sure, definitely, if you wanted to nitpick at it, right? I could timestamp everything and just really get the timing perfectly to where I ask a question like, oh, what's your name? And I say, oh, wow. Because unfortunately, we didn't have enough time before the start to where I could show you the evidence that we got from the spirit box. But we got a lot of intelligent answers when I was talking through the spirit box. So I guess let me tell you the story about where we went to investigate. I can't say the name of the place on stream, but I can tell you what's the video. But so this location is a working warehouse. It's still operational. People are still using it. But the story went that in the 70s, they were unloading these giant 4-ton bags of coffee beans, right? And forklifts are taking them out of the train cars, whatever. The driver is unfortunately a little careless, and the guy that was guiding him was right under the bag fell on, right? So they took this, they got it off him as fast as they possibly could. They took him to a restroom that was nearby, so they're using the toilet paper, towels, whatever they had to try and clean him up while the ambulance arrived. He unfortunately passed away in that restroom, right? The warehouse has still been operational since then. And when I told them, I was like, oh hey, I'm looking for places. If you guys have ever had an experience or anything like that you'd like to share, they're like, absolutely. When we go to this part of the warehouse, it feels really creepy. It feels uneasy. If you're there after like 5-6 p.m. when it's darker than usual, your eyes start playing tricks on you, because if you've ever worked at a warehouse or anything, you know that if they tell you to turn off the lights, it's not as easy as walking into a room and flipping on the switch. You gotta walk to the other end of the warehouse, flip off all the breakers, and then walk back to the actual door. So they're like, nobody wants to do that right now because it feels so uneasy. And like I said, this is a working warehouse. So sometimes it'll be so packed with product that's either coming in or going out that it's not a straight line from this door to the breaker. You have to do a full serpentine around all this stuff to get to that breaker. And then you got to do the same thing back. And it was at a point where they were saying like the workers were so scared to go turn off the lights because there's nooks and crannies where they just felt like something was going to pop out of it, right? So they're like, will you do it? And I was like, yeah, that sounds kind of crazy for the first investigation, right? But I'll do it, From what I understood, it was just a general feeling of uneasiness and a little bit of paranoia from being in the dark, which we all experience.
Yeah.
They never said that they actually saw something, right? All they said was that they felt like they saw something once it was dark, on the walk back. The only real thing that they said somebody experienced was that, warehouses, they have temp agencies, right? The story was that this was a big buff, tattooed from the neck down individual. He was walking to his forklift and he heard the patented Hispanic, hey, right? Guy turns around, he sees something peeking out from behind the pallet, and then it just hides again. So what does he do? He walks out of the job, leaves, quits instantly. Just says like, that was not any of the people that I met, and I know that was not human or living, right? So he quit. Agency was like, no, he's not going back, we're just sending somebody else. That was the only thing that they had, I guess, experience of or like any sort of paranormal activity. So I started my investigation in that area of the warehouse. The one area specifically, it was called like the north side, where they felt uneasy. And I told the girls the backstory of it. I did an initial walkthrough and I showed them because it was packed with stuff. So I was like, this is where we're going to be. This is like the path where I would feel safe with you guys being around. Just don't touch anything because these are actual products that are going to clients at some point, and I don't want you guys to get lost. Right? It's really dark. I would hate for you guys to get lost. So I walked them around, and then we came back. I started just asking general questions, getting a vibe. You're in the dark anywhere, it's creepy. But it wasn't until I turned on the spirit box and started asking questions that we started getting what I would consider intelligent replies. I mean, we just asked, like, if there's anyone here that wants to talk to us. We had this voice come through, and I made the mistake of asking in English, right? We're in frontera. So when I changed it up, I was like, hay alguien que quiere hablar con nosotros, que es tu nombre, and I heard somebody comment Lalo, right? And the chat is probably going to start going crazy with this because they watched it, right? They were hearing it. So we heard that initial Lalo, and then we didn't hear anything. And at that point, it was myself, Violet, and Yahi. We were kind of in a huddle. And nothing started coming through. And because it's live, and I don't want to bore people too much before ending it and continuing the rest of the investigation off stream, I was like, okay, you know what, guys? I'm going to go alone. I'm going to go alone. And I'm just going to see what I catch on the spirit box, And it wasn't really alone because I had, my live stream phone, so I had the 40, 30 some people that were watching. And the first piece of evidence that we caught after that, I didn't even hear. It was a disembodied voice. I'm describing to them how creepy it is that I'm surrounded by all these pallets and all this product that like there's tons of places that anything could pop out of in like the way that it did in the story of that worker. And you hear a little girl saying hola. It's like a child, like a little girl saying hola, I didn't hear it at the time. And I didn't have a fancy EVP or anything. It was my iPhone that I was streaming off and it caught it. And to everyone that's like, oh, hey, I didn't hear that. We will have a enhanced audio version that will upload it to the YouTube. We just don't have any of the socials made yet. But yeah, we captured that and then I just kept going, right? And there was a trash can that I thought was out of place, but I really can't remember, so maybe it wasn't out of place. I set down the spirit box and I just started asking questions again. I'm like, hey, well, you know what? Estoy solo, ya se sientes más cómodo hablar conmigo. ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Qué te pasó? Nothing's going on. And at that point, I'm like, ¿sabes qué? Ya me voy, me decido. So I start kind of turning around and there's one section where a truck just went out. Like it's just, that section, that truck went out that day because it's just empty. And I hear something in the spirit box go, ahí. And so I ask, like, ¿quieres que me meta ahí? You hear C, right? So I walk in there. I'm like, okay, I'm in here. Who wants to talk to me? ¿Quién quiere hablar conmigo? Is it Lalo? I start asking for the entity specifically, and I always say entity, right? I won't say ghost or whatever, entity, because I don't know what it is. And it starts giving me intelligent answers, but other things start coming through. It's no longer just the voice of Lalo that I heard. And I would describe Lalo's voice as just your average Joe, right? Si hablas con alguien de una bodega, that's what you hear. What I started hearing was kind of a female voice, and then like a deep growly voice. Now, this is what I heard over the spirit box. So I was asking questions and I was getting a mix of answers. And at some point, I started hearing something talking or responding in English. And I started saying like, hey, is there somebody here that is with me that isn't Lalo? And you hear a very Caucasian sounding voice, not something that you would hear in Laredo, say Chris. It says like Chris, and I'm like, oh man, I just heard something that wasn't Lalo. That's really weird. And then I heard the growling voice again, which could just be, spirit box feedbacks. They're very loud. And then this English speaking voice says, don't be scared. And you can see it in the stream. We have the full video. I go like, oh, hey, I think it said, don't be scared. I'm like, don't be scared of what? Like of Lalo? Like what's, I'm trying to say, like, what are you trying to tell me? And I hear something that says either thank you or F you, right? And I'm like, I think it just said F you. And this Chris sounding voice says, that's stupid. Like it's directly responding to the things that I'm talking to with the chat.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, oh, that's crazy. And again, the Chris voice, I only slightly heard. Right? And so at some point, this is located at, I can't be specific one, but it's near train tracks. So it starts passing, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna go back to the girls. So I went back to the girls, I was telling them kind of what happened, and I'm like, well, it's kind of getting late, it's a warehouse, it's very hot, we're all sweating, you could see it on the stream. So I'm like, I think I'm gonna end the stream by going into the restroom where this individual passed, and I'm going to set up the spirit box because, again, that's pretty much the only piece of equipment that I currently have. And let's just see if we talk to someone, And so I walk in there, I set it down, on a piece of cardboard because it's very dirty in there. Nobody has used it in years because of what happened. And that's where this voice of Lalo really started coming through specific. I started asking, like, Lalo, is it okay if I'm in here? ¿Puedo venir a hablar contigo? No hay problema. And when I asked that question, very clearly you can hear Monday, kind of like somebody that didn't hear you. And if you guys don't know how a spirit box works, it channels through the radio channels at a really fast rate. So you might hear like a cutting or a stuttering of radio stations if it's picking it up. You should never be able to hear, but the idea is that you shouldn't be able to hear clear, concise words because it's channeling through everything really fast. So the way that it was so clear, it's surprising. You can see me on the stream and go like, it just said Monday. Like that's the clearest Monday I've ever heard. And I'm like, Lalo, if that's you, dame una señal que estás aquí conmigo. Muéstrame que estás aquí conmigo. And you hear it say, ¿cómo? I'm like, knock on the door, tócale la puerta en la pared. And unfortunately we didn't get any knocking, but somebody in the chat was giving me like suggestions in there, like, ask them the color of your shirt. And at the time I had an all black shirt with yellow accents. It was the shirt for my business. And we're like, Lalo, si estás aquí conmigo en el baño, ¿qué color es mi camiseta? And it wasn't until I enhanced it that you hear it say, perdón, amarillo. And I didn't hear it, but there was people in the chat that were saying like, oh, it's amarillo, amarillo. And I didn't hear it until, post. But finally, when I decided to end it or leave the restroom, I asked again, like, is it okay that I'm in here? And I heard a female say, vete. And then I heard the deep growling voice say, vete. So I was like, all right, that's 2 times from 2 different sounding voices is a good indicator to just wrap it up. So I thanked Lalo and whoever it was that was talking to me for talking to me. I said that nobody, as much as I was appreciative of talking to everyone, nobody can come with me. Everything that is here stays here. We kind of cleansed ourselves. I ended the stream. We ended it there. I didn't even end up doing more investigation after the stream just because I heard the 2 vetes. There's actually a point before that I forgot to mention where that female voice says, cállate. I'm asking questions and I'm like, ¿hay alguien aquí conmigo? Que alguien quiere hablar? And it's, cállate. You hear it clearly say that, cállate. And it was just crazy because I went into it thinking this is going to be a 45-minute stream, maybe an hour, where I'm just listening to radio feedback, just static, I really didn't expect to catch or hear the things that we heard. And I say we because the chat was there too. And so we looked at it in post, George enhanced all the audio of the stream. And, that's another one of the things. We didn't have recorders recording everything on the side. I was listening to it through my iPhone. And we were able to catch all this stuff. We presented it to the owners of the warehouse, and they were like, that's crazy. That's insane. And we were like, well, do you know if Lalo is the name of the individual that passed away? And I know we never heard of it. And the lady that asked me to go investigate, she's actually been there since like the 70s or before. I want to say she knew the individual, or maybe she came inside before or after, sorry. So she would definitely know the name. And she couldn't tell me, maybe she didn't want to, if that was the actual name of the individual. But she's definitely like scared. Well, now, right? Because she says that now she knows or she feels like there is something there. And she thinks that she had originally wanted me to go back and investigate the actual offices itself. Because kind of like the hallway that is in my house, they have one there that leads towards like their break room. and like a storage room, there are a lot of stories that there's something always peering back at them. And the office workers, because if you never worked at a warehouse, you have the office workers, and then you have people in the warehouse, the actual warehouse, doing the hard job. They say that the office workers will sometimes be looking down the hallway and just avoid, it's just dark down there. And then something moves towards the storage room and they don't realize it the whole time they were staring at something or something was staring back at them. And she had wanted me to go investigate, but ever since the investigation in the warehouse, she says that she's seen an uptick or has felt an uptick in stuff like talking to her. Because she's the boss. She's the boss of the warehouse. So she'll occasionally take strolls, make sure everyone's doing their job, stuff's happening okay. And she used to take those strolls alone. Now she takes somebody with her because she says that shortly after our investigation, she was taking one of those strolls and she heard somebody say, "Señora," but she didn't turn around. She was like, "I knew that I was alone in that part of the warehouse. I was just checking on, material. There should have been no one in there, and I heard that, señora. So I didn't turn around. I just kept walking and I left as calmly and as quickly as I could." So now she's like, "I don't really know if I feel comfortable with you investigating the office. I feel like it's definitely jump in activity." And so I was like, "Hey, well, I'm not gonna like force you or anything. I'm very appreciative that you let me investigate in the first place. So if you decide that you'd like for me to investigate the office, I'd love to. The same rules. I'm not gonna say the name of the company. I'm not gonna focus on any other papers or the forms that could give you out because I don't want, you don't want anybody to break in and try to, look for a spirit." So she's still on the fence about it, but it's just crazy that like that was the first one, and we got that much activity, and that there's still stuff going on, maybe because of the investigation itself. And I wasn't antagonistic or anything like that. It was just, general questions like, "Hey, is there somebody here that wants to talk to me?"
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just that's the thing that, well, like I was saying, we came out of it, and I was like, "Holy cow, it was really fun." Like I did not expect that at all.
Yeah.
And just interesting because, like I said, we went in there with like, "Guys, I hope it goes well. If I could hear one knock, I'll be happy."
Mhm.
But we heard way more than that. And I think that got me hooked. I think that got me hooked because there's absolutely no shot that I ever expected something like that or hearing anything, experience anything like that.
Yes. You asked me about the equipment, audio and video. That's it.
Yes.
That's the meat and the potatoes of when you want to get yourself seriously going into the type of investigation. EMF detectors, thermometers, those are good to give you reference point that
Right.
there's something unusual. So first thing what we do is talk to the family, not in the house. We want to meet with them in a restaurant, in a neutral area, not within the places has the activity. We ask about maybe from 20 to 30 questions, and the basic questions, how many people live, people work. And some of the questions we told the people, the family or the owners of the building or the property, is there's a question that it's too personal, and I'll give an example. You can just say skip the question, because we don't want to get into too much information. And one of the questions is this: has anybody had recently passed away? And sometimes they do open up, and sometimes they don't. Another question is: and anybody taking any medication or the influence of any type of alcohol, drugs? So we go to those questions, and it gives us a snapshot of what they're witnessing, what we know by experience over the years, and what kind of equipment you use. Now, I mentioned all the equipment I call it equipment of communication or reference points to give you a point of reference. The EMF detector, electric magnetic field detector. Those are very good on abandoned buildings with no electricity. if you have a house that is full of electricity, your EMF detectors or REM pods are I question, depending how you use them, because they can pick up cell phone, radio signals, and everything, and it'll trigger them off. So your integrity of investigation will be questioned. So there are some EMF detectors, they call them tri-field, which is a different type of a magnetic field that is more natural energy than man-made energy, like microwave. And that are more expensive, but the integrity of the investigation and the practice of those detectors are more, I'm going to say, valuable and substantiates your practice. The other is the temperature. The first thing you do once you start taking the temperature in IR, infrared, digital thermometer, go to the AC vent and you're going to trigger it and you're going to document and gives you a baseline of the temperature. If it's 75 degrees, you write 75, you check all areas, or nice chest, there's nothing there, that already gives you a point of reference to you investigate, which pictures, night vision, for everything, you start using everything and see what you can capture something. And the equipment of communication is very different from the video and the audio. The other is laser grids, there's EMF detectors, there's temperature. There's also the different types of triggers you can use. I just finished working, because I create some of the equipment for communication. I do my own REM pods. I do my own, EMF pump, which is electromagnetic pump, which is a magnetic, and it's in theory that feeds energy to the intelligent entity to manifest one.
Right.
And I started creating our own equipment based on the experience of years, and I'm more of the geek tech part of the group. The other people in our group have very good skills on videography and audio, so it's a dream team once we get all together. But the communication, for example, an EMF detector, if you're going to use, you can use it blink once for yes, twice for no. And if you're in a building, there's no electricity whatsoever, and it starts blinking with intelligence, that gives you some type of evidence. But the field experience there, it's phenomenal, because there's no electricity and it's coming on. On the spirit box, when we use the spirit box, at first, it's something that maybe at first you think it's a gimmick, or you get radio stations, pieces of sentences here and there. But when you speed up the spirit box, where there's no way that a word can come out of a radio station, in the practice that you utilize, and you start getting these intelligent responses, that puts you beyond the fence, because you're there, you're hearing it, and then you have an audience. In our case, it was personal audio, never to be public, because I think you didn't have the chance to say, okay, we know the answers, we know what we're going to take to the public. And it's really hard. You have to understand, if I come up to the public and I tell them, this video, we caught a fairy, went all the way and it disappeared. First, you're gonna have the audience they're gonna dissect you and put you nail you to the wall. You're gonna have the ones that do believe fairies, yeah, it's fairy.
Yeah.
You're gonna have the ones that are open minded, it's a bug.
Right.
You're gonna have the ugly audience, they're gonna tell you, so how do you know it's a fairy? Is there anthropology or some type of bones of the fairies? Where's the evidence? How do you know there is a fairy? How do you know it's not a grasshopper? So for us, and for any group, when you explain evidence, the best thing to do is say, you capture something that resembles a fairy, could be an insect. For us, it's unexplained. It's for you to decide on your interpretation. For us, it's something weird, bizarre, and unexplained. We cannot be like some ghost hunter shows that tell you, oh, the spirit touched me or scratched me. We don't know. We just say, for us, it's unexplained. Another good tactics that gives you good evidence is being polite.
Right.
You're not there to provoke or try to make this person or whatever is there as an intelligent haunting to manifest itself because of anger. We've been with practices over the years as we take more, and I mentioned this, more with honey than with vinegar, and we've been very successful to get very good responses. But for me, for the years, the best evidence that I can prove to you there's something bizarre or hallucinating is your video and the audio. Spirit box is very good. It still is questionable for some skeptics, which is fine. But remember one thing, I recommend white noise, EVP sessions. All you need a speaker, they sell them, they're not expensive. You use just a white noise and you put it at very low volume. You put your voice recorder next to it and just start asking questions. You can hear clear voices that you won't hear, but your recorder will pick up. Now the growls, based on our experience, you hear a growl, you hear sounds like a demonic. For us, we have based it on different frequency, and I'll give an example. We got a voice that it said "get out," and it sounded like "good boat." But when we speed up the pitch, we picked up the third voice. It went get out, get out. So our different pitches and frequencies that we're still on the tip of the iceberg to find out at what levels to be able to record. But get the voice, and then we analyze it. We put the pitch up, pitch down. Sometimes we pick up the pitch when it still sounds demonic or evil. But you have all these instruments, and that's research. Okay, we did the pitch up, then we pitch down, then we heard this. And also, we don't recommend to whisper. If you whisper, you're contaminating your own AVP or your. Okay, so let's say you do hear a dog barking, put that as a reference. Okay, that's dog barking right next to us. So the audience or the people can hear that, you're being as transparent as you can be. Okay. One time we were investigating and someone was very, very hungry. And you could hear the stomach growling, and everybody, did you hear that?
That's where it was.
So, that's a stomach demon. But and everything that you're doing, yes, we're curious. There's things out there that I consider for the fact it's unexplainable. There is a level of paranormal research that changes to a higher level. And to get there, you need to learn everything you're learning right now. And now you're learning that there is something up there. You're getting an intelligence response. Once you get to a level where it gets more serious, which means it's like very rare you get to demonic or non-human or negative energy, that changes the whole spectrum to say, okay, that's it. This is not for me. And I've had members of my group been with me with years that just they have children, they change, become more religious, they see that these things could haunt them, that they just fear took over, and they said, okay, it got to a point where I can't. So there is where our group from science goes become more spiritual. You need both aspects, but you go more to the spiritual part, and then you start protecting yourself with good faith, and that's good religion as an opening prayer and a closing prayer. Trust me, in my group, I have Democrats and Republicans. I have radical left, or the left and the right, and they all have their opinions, and you have people that believe only in science, and they're atheists, and they don't believe in God, and there's some people that believe in God. And trust me, I'm in the middle. All right, settle down. We're all gonna get together. We're all gonna get engaged to work together, because like a family, we do have our arguments and differences of opinion, but at the end, we all put our heads together. And just in case, I go, I'd rather be safe than sorry, even though you don't believe in God. But I'm gonna bless you with water. I'm gonna give you a good prayer, and it's a good practice. We're not killing sacrificing a rooster or a chicken to make. We just want everyone to be safe, and we have our. I guess what makes us unique is that if they would made a story or see us work, we'll be making a comedy, because we have a lot of bloopers and a lot of things happen behind the scenes. And we do get excited when we do capture good stuff, and we get sad when we capture something that we thought it wasn't.
Yeah.
So, but I can tell you for a fact, practice of, we had a practice of good religion, or something that gives you faith and courage, because you're gonna need that. We had two individuals that call us up. They call us like they thought that we were like Ghostbusters. Go in and use a box and get the spirits in the box and get out. One of them did something that they were married, same gender, both are females from San Antonio. And I told them, there's a bunch of groups that you can help you in San Antonio, paranormal groups. Yeah, but they don't speak Spanish as like you guys do. We're speaking in Spanish, but they wanted to get it out of here. Quítalo, sácalo, please. And I asked, well, what's your religion? Well, what do you practice? What's your faith? We don't believe in anything. We're atheists. We don't believe in God. Okay, well, I cannot take it out, because I have to get someone that do practice religion to you can have a blessing. We'll think about it. Past 3 months, they called us back and they told us, you know what? We started to practice Christianity, I think Baptist. And we hope to get a pastor, a Baptist church, bless the house. And ever since then, they didn't have any activity. And I told her, you don't have to believe in religion, you believe in the sun. Look, it's there, it's alive. I mean, there's something that you're seeing, or a plant, or just something that gives you a faith, or believe in yourself to have the courage. Because things are happening around you. You don't believe in some type of, that gives you that foundation of trust of yourself. That you're going to have a lot of fear. These people were getting scratched, there were bite marks, pull their hair, and they will move to one apartment, to another apartment, to another apartment. But one of them did something that it shouldn't, and they didn't go in details, but they opened up a portal, and theory, and whatever came out through the portal, it got attached to them. And but even since the blessing, not only they blessed the apartment, they blessed them, and they haven't had it activity. So there's where you start drawing the line. Okay, if God actually did its work, or they thought that God did the work and they're self-confident. Okay, so you have to weigh, on believing in the religion or not. So based on all the cases we've seen more cases that have visited a religious practice that their activity has diminished or hasn't happened.
Well, Mr. Cuellar, I think based on your schedule, we might have to leave it there and transfer into the quick Q&A.
Okay.
If you want to just rapid fire some of these answers, because some of them are pretty loaded, and I don't want.
I'll try my best.
All right. So somebody asked, just I guess if you want to put it into a number, like top 3 maybe. What are the highlights of your ghost hunting year?
Highlights? Okay, so this is a very personal experience. We were at the abandoned building in Central Laredo. We were there, and we're picking up our gear. I went down to the basement, and all the guys, there were about 30 of us, had left, and I was checking for any gear left. I had my flashlight, a $200 flashlight. I'm in by the morgue cafeteria area, and my flashlight turned off. I couldn't turn it on. I couldn't see right in front of me. I was touching walls. And let me tell you, fear hit me so hard that back of my hairs, I look like a black cat who never feared. Like this. And I'm sure whatever was there was laughing at me because I didn't scream. I was just in shock that my flashlight went off. It took about 2 hours plus to get out of there. And I heard a whistle, something like, and I'll turn around and go, hey, anyone? Like I would start talking, but that whistled like 3 or 4 times. And just by listening to the whistle would help me to exit out to the stairwells to get back to the first floor. And once I got out of there, I was like, I was sweating and anxiety and stress, and it was very intense. And that it's not that it was an experience; it's just that. And then my flashlight turned on back.
Perfectly fine.
And I was like, how can I explain this?
Yeah.
I was one. This one, the second one, was a different building. I'm gonna say. This is a building close to the downtown area. It's a big warehouse. And they have a basement and there's some boilers. So we get there, it's abandoned, and I love it when there's no electricity. No electricity? Mm-hmm. Awesome. Perfect. All your gears, especially your gear detectors, work perfect. It was 2 sheriff's officers, deputies, working, part of the group. Myself and a sergeant from the police department. 2 of us had voice recorders. We had 2 night vision cameras, and 3 of us had our flashlights. Our flashlights told it won't alter your night vision. We put a red cap, so the red light helps your visual at night. Doesn't trigger that white light. So we're hearing, it's a big building. We hear the hallway, and we hear a bang. Like something was hitting one of the big tanks. So these tanks were probably
huge,
12 feet, huge, and something was hitting like repeatedly, and it would hit and it will echo the whole building. And was anybody here in this building? No. Do you hear that? So we got closer and closer to the area, and we noticed that it sounded louder as we get closer. So we start walking down the stairs. We'll have our cameras, voice recorders, and everything. And the first question I asked, hello, is anybody here? And that pong just stopped. I go, what happened? I thought it was wind. No, it just stopped. So the 2 officers came and went around the boiler. And they go, no. Let's go follow on this side. And as soon as we are moving to the right, to the left side of the boiler, I asked the question, can you give us a sign of your presence? If anybody is here, give us a sign. All cameras, flashlight, voice recorders simultaneously turned on. Like that. And I'm getting goosebumps right now. But when that happened, I've never kissed a man in the mouth. I've never. But we ran to each other, and I hit his face, he hit my face, and we're like, oh my God, did I just kiss you? And we hit it, los caímos, cameras and everything, and we start flying out of there. Because we were like, we start running and we hit our heads like this and he quits. So there was a awkward moment, bizarre, paranormal, or we ran out of there, and then all the equipment came back. That was intense because the multiple of witnesses, the multiple of cameras turning off simultaneously was outrageous. And we have the EVP is get out, and I think I shared it on the video. On the presentation, but that was one of the intense evidence and witnesses combined. There's more.
Yeah.
The third one, I can tell you that I mentioned that we take priority for children. This was in Las Lomas, 13 miles away from Laredo. They call us in the middle of the night. This is very, very poor people, family, father, mother, a young adult, daughter of 13, and a 5-year-old boy. So it's a program, a government program that they were going to give them a house, but they had to destroy or remove their mobile home. So they start building the house. So the owner of the house start breaking the mobile home, which mobile home from the 60s. They start breaking and start making a bonfire to burn all the wood of the mobile home. If not, they were not finished their house.
Yeah.
They said that whatever was there in that mobile home start attacking the family. That was a phone call. That was the details. I was able to get 2 investigators myself. We get there at 1:30 in the morning. And as soon as we open the door of the house, the lady comes in crying, and there was rosaries, crucifix all over the house. The boy was in the arms of the mom, the mother, and the daughter was next to her. All together, the husband was in the outside burning everything they could from the mobile home. So we started with the questions, what happened. I started documenting. I put a case number, time and date. We checked the temperatures. We checked everything, and we started getting the evidence. Physical, and they bring the young lady, 13, 14-year-old, and she had bite marks in the back, scratches, deep scratches. And this was a case of demonic or non-human. First question I asked, what do you want to get someone here based on your religion? Yes. Made some phone calls. The person, a deacon, says, I'll be there. I'm out of town. I'll be there first thing in the morning. I'll try my best. We had to spend the night with the family, and so nothing will happen until the religious person will come in to visit, to bless the house, to protect them. And I did an opening prayer and closing prayer. So I started interviewing the little boy, and I talked to him in Spanish, and I said, have you seen anything out of the ordinary? Have you seen something here? He points out the mobile home that he was to play or see a little boy. Okay, and maybe you were watching yourself as a reflection? No. He said he had pants, jeans, and a striped shirt. Okay, maybe you imaginary friend. And he looked normal. Yes, but he was a little bit taller. And okay, so I've documented everything. So I started asking questions to the mom, and then the boy pulls my shirt. He says, he goes, there's one more thing. He had a very long tongue. And I go, he had a long tongue. He goes, oh, era la lengua muy larga. And that's that. So that gave my goosebumps on that story. So I put the voice recorder. The priest came in. We barely slept. Nothing happened. We were there recording. The whole family went in front of the house, and he brought holy water. He did the ointment on everybody. He started opening prayer. I put my wood recorder, I put record, and I had the Bible, and I was following the deacon. Each room, every inch by inch blessing, the house. And let me tell you, it felt like when you have your ears plugged, and there's a lot of pressure. When it started doing the holy water and everything, and he went to the backyard, went to the mobile home and everything. Once he finished, like that, you feel the peace, the energy came out to be peaceful. The setting felt very normal. When I checked the audio, there was a lot of growls, screams, and I got the tape and I gave it to the deacon, and the practice on the religion, sent it to the Vatican to a possible evidence, because they research,
Right.
and that was one of the most intense. We couldn't believe it. It was physical evidence. The innocent of a child to be very scared, and the details of me saying it was something demonic, negative, and I consider something that I will never forget. To this day, of course, the boy is already a young adult, and they hug me and they told me, Mr. Cuellar, ¿cómo está? Thank you so much. We're very, very happy. We haven't had an incident ever since your visit. Well, I didn't bless the house. It was deacon. I just connected, helped to facilitate that.
Mediated.
Yeah. So.
There you go. Top three for Mr. Cuellar, or
There's a top 8, but those are the top 3 I can think of right now.
Another question we have here is: could you be scared out of ghost hunting, and what would it be?
Say it. I'm sorry.
Could you be scared out of ghost hunting, and what would it take
To be scared?
to be scared out of ghost hunting? Like, I'm not doing it anymore.
Oh
because-
no. I pray to the day that I die. I'm hoping that God gives me to be a Saint Michael powers or angels to go fight the negative. If there is a heaven, I would like to have that challenge to fight the evil. That's my personal opinion, because that's the level where once you get the fun part, there is an ugly part where this case I just mentioned was very ugly. It gives you the perspective that there is something very bad, and it's just like anything. You want to put up a fire, you get a fire. You want to, take care of someone medically, you go into the medical field. In this case, I'm starting to be a demonologist. So I need to be practice a good religion, which Catholic will be my route. So I'm gonna have to do my first communion, but get baptized. Well, I'm baptized as a Methodist, so I'm getting out, and I'm getting the help to, so I can start learning on that level. That's another level that it's more of a personal thing that I want to do. But if I ever do, I'll be, hey, God, give me a chance to beat up some demons here. I hate when they attack children.
Yeah.
That's something that I can do.
That's usually who they target because they're so small and fragile.
They're innocent.
Yeah, they're innocent. Yeah. Another question we have here is: have you ever been unintentionally disrespectful to a site or person or entity? I'm assuming they mean. And how did you deal with it?
If I was disrespectful?
Or maybe anybody in the society they've ever been either intentionally or unintentionally disrespectful.
I've never disrespected, but when we had a house, it was a trailer house. They had the different bad practice of religion there. And that was very, very intense, because the person that was oppressed or possessed, she had a very terrible background, and a mother And we had to bless that house and bless her twice. She would scratch herself and scream and say it, talk in different languages. She would have to report that and everything. And we had to be very direct. Being direct was no verbal slurs or bad words, but direct to whatever was attacking her.
Right.
To help the priest, to help the blessing, to be let her go or get out. So it's a strong, I want to say anxiety, because you want this person to heal, and you're telling whatever's there attached to her to be on, and you have to do it aloud. We can't whisper, and you have to say it with the very direct and loud commands to that whatever is there. Like I said, these are cases are very rare, very, very rare.
Right.
But when it happens, you have to be prepared.
Somebody says, this is from my sister, says, are you going to continue doing investigations? And would you be interested in doing an investigation with his?
This was. Oh yes,
That guy with the face.
yes.
What if you do?
No. I love to teach. I love to participate. I remember I got called to go investigate. The more the person is afraid, more evidence happens, and it happens. It can be their own energy that they expose, that manifests more. And I remember we were four of us there, and the security came in. It was a young kid, and I go, "You're afraid?" Yes, I am very afraid. Okay, so you're going to be in front of us. No, don't worry, we got you. And yeah, he gave us good evidence. So you're using me as bait? Well,
Yeah.
maybe. More like EMF, human EMF. You're detecting. But I think any investigation, we learn from it. The team factor, the team building, and I love it. It's because all helping each other to one common goal is to get evidence, and hopefully we do get something that we can archive it and have, this is very good evidence. And it's like fishing. You catch a big fish, you take a picture of it, and
Yeah.
you take it as a record.
Final question, and this one is coming from me. Is there something that you told me when I talked to you at the presentation, and you kind of said it in passing, you just slightly mentioned it, and then we moved on to a different topic. But it's really, it's been something that I've been thinking about pretty much nonstop. It really stuck with me. And you said that in doing this, you kind of make yourself open, where it's just it's like this. You kind of described it as like, if you look for them, they're gonna see you. Kind of like putting a spotlight on yourself because you're like. Is this something that you've experienced after 200 plus investigations?
When I was pushed to this, I was very skeptic, and we got our first picture. I remember CyberShot Sony camera, 3.1 megapixels.
Yeah.
We pushed the door on the emergency area of Mercy Hospital, and we snapshot. Here we got a lightning entity, beautiful green. I see, and we call it Slimer. That same night, we went to another floor, we took a picture, and I'll bring the picture, and I promise for the next time. A picture of a full-scale apparition. It's a young lady with white cowboy boots, her legs. It looks like a skirt. It looks like she has a white purse. And it looks like it's coming out from an orb. That picture it's your Mona Lisa picture that we took with a 3.1 megapixels at the time. Those two pictures across Mercy Hospital, there's Christ the King Church.
Mhm.
It was 11:30 at night. I'm knocking at the priest's door. The priest lived there. Padre, ahí estás, Padre. Father, are you there? See the light turning on his, his quarters. Open up the window, looking at me. Like, what do you want? I need to talk to you. And he goes, why do you want to talk to me? What did you do? I didn't kill anybody. Look, it's my badge. I'm an officer. Okay. I just need to talk to you. I just need to talk to you. Something happens. And I have to thank him because he calmed me down. And he brought me in to his, like a little living room area, like the receiving room. I sat down, but he dressed up as a priest. He goes, I'll be right back. And I had my laptop and I had my pen drive, and I go, look, we capture this and this. And he goes, there's a lot of mystery in this world. You're alive. You should be more conscious on the living than the spirit world. Everything is energy. Electrons, neutrons, atoms. We're made of different matter out there. But there is a dimension that you're not going to be able to get there yet. But live your life. Don't get into that world because it's going to get you the mystery, more of the mystery and the mystery. And that door closes, you open it. And that door closes, you open it. But it's the most normal thing. All this energy, this apparition, it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's not paranormal. Just think about it. Okay, so it's not paranormal, it's normal. Yes, because think about it as a cave. You're in a cave and it's dark. Would you go in? No. What are you thinking? Thinking about a bear or an animal or okay. Now think about it when you have a flashlight and you have a gun and you have 2 or 3 of your friends. Would you go in? Well, yeah, no, I'm confident because I'm protected. That's what you need to do with God. You need to protect yourself and have that foundation before you go into this research. Because if you go in there blindsided, you're going to open up things that they're going to attach, they're going to follow you, and they're going to notice you. Remember, God has a promise that the spirit world does not cross the living. Okay? Once you start crossing their world, they're like, hey, he crossed over here. Okay? So we're on to him. And especially if you're going to be fighting negative energy and entities. So there's a book I highly recommend for all of you. And I'm not promoting the book. It's the nephew of the Warrens. The Warrens are your founding fathers of paranormal research in the United States. There's some movies out there. It's Hollywood, but there's actually a demonologist and a psychic. They work together, husband and wife. The nephew, his name is John Safis. He wrote a book called The Shadows of the Dark. And at the beginning of the book, tells you my experience. When I read it, I said, yes. That is true. And it tells you once you go in there, type of research, once they know that you know, and you start being receptive to the activity, they're never going to let you go. In some cases, some of my paranormal investigators have quit, and it's not for them. It's not for everybody. That's why there is a fun part, which is the good. There's a bad part, which we can understand. But there's also an ugly part. And that ugly part is where you're going to have to be very, very careful. So I highly recommend opening prayer, close prayer. It's just in case, to rather be safe than sorry. And that's what I can tell you that that book I highly recommend it for anybody who wants to start. You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy anything, Amazon or Google it. John Safis, Shadows of the Dark. And it's a black book, and there's a a candle. And that book will start to the research and gives you the guiding principles to do and not to do when you start doing primary research.
Mr. Cuellar, definitely a book I'm gonna pick up. A different book you guys should pick up is the book on the Laredo Paranormal Research Society, written by Mr. James, who was at the
Yes.
he was at the presentation. A lot of backstory on Mr. Cuellar and the other members of the Research Society, as well as a few notes on some of the more prominent cases that they've investigated. And there's also, I want to say, half the book on UFOs. Really good read. You can pick this up at Organic Man or Amazon. Right? It's a good read, guys. If you didn't get enough of Mr. Cuellar today, there's a little bit, or the Research Society, there's a little bit more of it in here. But he's gonna be back. Don't worry about it. He's definitely gonna be back.
Next time I'll have actual evidence.
Yeah.
Chris James, retired Border Patrol, and we both worked at a Special Operations Response Team, and him from Border Patrol, me in the Department of Corrections. And then I saw him with a big cap at the conference, UFO conference we had here at TANU. We had a big UFO, and I go, "Hey, James, what are you doing here?" "I don't know, but what are you doing?" "I'm presenting." "You like UFOs?" "Yeah, I'm into all this stuff." So there's when we even though we're co-workers from different agencies, he investigates. He retired, and he first book was Border Patrol versus Werewolf. But this one, most of the investigations he was with us doing the stories. And he started as an honorary member, and now he's a full member. And he has done very good books. He's got Fort McIntosh. So this line of books will be there in Amazon.
This is the first one I picked up. The next one I'm picking up is the Paranormal Laredo.
Yes.
It looked interesting. Like I said, you can pick them up at Organic Man Coffee Trike, or Amazon. Very good reads, guys. Well worth it to get them and just peer into the world of the Laredo Paranormal Research Society and the history of Laredo. Mr. James does extensive research on the history of Laredo. There is so much in here about Laredo and its inhabitants and its buildings that you would have never imagined. But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up here, guys. I want to thank Mr. Cuellar for being here, Peter for being here, the production team, and everybody in the chat. Appreciate you hanging out and watching the first episode of hopefully many for this podcast, and of many with Mr. Cuellar and possibly other members of the Research Society if they ever want to.
Just a cliffhanger for the audience.
See you.
I'm with Chris James, and hopefully I can bring Chris James. He witnessed. We're at the basement of this building, and I'm using these full spectrum night vision goggles, and the cameras are in the center, and I have my UV light as my flashlight or my infrared light, and it's a spotlight, right? And when I turn this way, there is I'm gonna say 8 feet by 8 feet. Those doors open for the cafeteria basement or to another room. You can see in the video the black mass shadow that covered the whole door, the whole frame. And when I shot my light into this darkness, it ate my light. It sucked the light in. There was no reflection. It didn't penetrate. And all that is in video. And I'll bring it next time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see it and all the other stuff that we kind of touched on because, man, it's what you say. It's so interesting and captivating to just hear you talk about it. You don't even have the videos with you, and there's videos of all this stuff that you're saying.
The light hits this black mass, and it looks like a black hole. And there's no light. And I'm like, And then it covered the whole door. And there's when I felt something in my throat. It's not in the video, but James can tell you that I start coughing. Because I was seeing this and I put the light and I was like, I start coughing and coughing. Now, I don't know what happens. I feel like somebody poked my throat. But when we checked the video, we're like, wow. And I've seen the video millions of times. I'm looking at it, and I can't explain it. So I'll bring that video for the audience.
Absolutely, we can't wait. Mr. Cuellar, thank you so much.
No, thank you everybody.
Guys, we hope you enjoyed everything. There's definitely stuff to look forward to on behalf of us and the LPRS. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.